What is going on, everyone? It is your shaman, your sister in spirit, and your friend Alicia Dunleavy here on behalf of the Aspirant agency with my soul fam, Amar the Dream Lander. So everybody that's here, let's drop into the comments. Let's say what's up. Thank you everybody for being here. I see that we have a couple of viewers, so I'd love to see who's here. Yeah, welcome to our broadcast. Happy summer solstice, a day late. I hope everybody had a great time. Daniela's on. I've been excited to meet him. Well, he's here. Alrighty. So we're going to go through an interview. I want everybody to have an opportunity to get to know Amar. What an amazing and skilled practitioner. And what do you say? You ready to dive into it? Hi.
Peace, love, and light to you and everyone who is present. It's such a pleasure to be with you, Alicia. And once you're ready to actually dive in, I think that I would be able to facilitate. Am I being heard properly? Are you hearing me properly?
I can hear you great. How about everyone else? Can everybody hear us okay? Amar the Dream Lander. So as you know, the Aspirant agency is a collective of intuitives, right? And we all have different backgrounds. We all have different talents. And Amar here is our Dreamlander. We got a thumbs up, so I think everybody can hear us great, which is awesome. So the first question I have for you is, I'd love for everybody to kind of get to know who you are. What's your story?
So I am, as you know, my name is Amar, and I'm located in the Caribbean. I was born in this island of Trinidad and Tobago, residing in Trinidad most of my time. So I grew up. I grew up in the central regions of Trinidad, and it's quite a phenomenal story wherein being left alone at a tender age, some form of how to say, the easiest way to actually say this, some form of neglect brought me into the trusting of the unseen realm by apparitions. So there was this moment when, and it all started with mangoes and hunger, and an apparition that came in like sort of like a unicorn, not even knowing what a unicorn was at that point. Not ever having access to those things, really in a state of deep poverty. At 7 years old, I was possibly a full-blown vagrant child, with being fed by this neighbor, so this, that, and my father took to the bottle. The bottle didn't like him so much, so it's quite a saddening beginning. But the beauty of it, however, is that my dependency was on the immaterial realm. I used to talk to the immaterial realm. I was the one of those kids who had imaginary friends and real friends, and it proved itself to be something more real than anything else to adults at that point. Once this apparition turned into a being resembling that of the human, but for some reason didn't carry any feet that I could have seen. Its gown, or it's covered the entirety of the feet area, but the face was handsome to look upon, and the hair was radiating. So from pulsating colors, it came into this being that was able to give me a particular type of insight and help into a few places. So that is where that actually started for me for me as a kid coming up. However, becoming dependent on that realm, caused me to hop from religious space to religious space, spending time in churches, living there, spending time in Hindu temples, living there, spending time in the masjid, living there, spending time with the Orisha family, living there. So the exposure I had to spirituality or religion, a religious order, reading, culture, and actually being present for rituals was very vast coming up like that. It actually was quite was quite amazing, the way that I would actually get out of trouble at times, and the way that I would be stuck in some trouble at times. And it can be something that we can say is general to every single person. But it proved itself quite beneficial to me. This watcher, this personality that never gave a name, said I was the watcher. Upon his departure, he said, "We have facilitated your heart with all that you would need, all that you would need." And growing up from there, hopping from space to space, accumulating knowledge, reading at times, having that level of discernment, until it came a point where, under what we might consider to be the Orthodox Church, an individual from there was a magician. He taught me a lot of magic. I spent time there, and he taught me to travel. He taught me a way to travel. From therein, I was able to meet with Melchizedek, my higher self. And from there was another catalyst of movements and growth and all of that. So in between, there are stories that open stores to so many stories to actually go through. I always had an ability to know something of a human's heart. I would look at you, and it was quite weird for me at the beginning. It was chaotic, wherein information that I did not want to have was present. Someone who was cheating on their husband. Some people might be together, closely knitted. I don't know them. I know that these are both. I was always privy to the lies of people at the beginning. And then I realized I was privy to those lies because I needed to embrace my truth. I was lying to myself about the things that were happening to me. That this is not real. I'm insane. This is crazy. So some of the things that I was embracing myself, playing small, lying to myself in many spaces that actually manifested in such a way that I actually knew the lies of everyone. And from there, embracing love, I started to know the love of everyone. So I realized that I had a capacity to hard connect with individuals, and that went on for some time. That actually went on for some time, hands-on. So this brought me some knowing, and some people who were attracted to what I knew, and were really invested in being with me, around me, and all of that. However, after some time passed, and living that life as it was, I came into contact with an individual who started to tell me their dreams. And it started to tell me their dreams. But what was really profound, and what was really profound about this incident was that this person found it necessary that I reach the world like this, being able to speak to their dreams. Yeah, and she introduced a friend who is a friend who is very critical, very logical, very pragmatic, not gullible, not easily impressed, and all of that. So this was the person who actually said, you have things, you can serve the world, you can serve this world from these mediums. So prior to that, I was not interested in Facebook or WhatsApp or mediums like these, being online like this, because I wasn't sure how I would have been able to serve, one, and two, I sort of shunned from a lot of these devices. I found that I was not prepared to deal with its frequency in its entirety. It needed some level of preparation and another type of some integration of energies also to be able to balance that frequency. So therein, having that level of discovery, they came to me with their jewelry dreams that stayed with them from tender childhood, vivid dreams, reoccurring dreams like that. And it proved to them that it proved to them within themselves and their heart space, because I'm only relating a voice here. I actually at times was not so invested in how you felt. It was only about that transmission. This dream is speaking, something is speaking from you to me. And when you start speaking about your dreams, I realized that these dreams are alive. These are actual situations that take personalities. These beings are very real. The situation is very real. This heart is speaking to me, and so now it's having that type of audience. It gave me the confidence actually to know that listen, this is not something that is fractured, or this is not something that is. This is actually something that is happening here. So it took a particular type of of clarity and listening also, because the aura wants to speak, the heart wants to speak, the sacred chakra wants to speak, the brain wants to speak, and the lips want to say all at it, all heroic things. I am great, I'm strong, I'm standing, and the heart is saying, no, this is not true. Embrace your truth. And and now it gives such wisdom in delivering that truth. This cow, its milk, its representation in the grass itself. This psyche road to the conscious, to the royal road of the unconscious, and having that level of memory is such a beautiful thing. But actually coming to that space of discovery was by other people. The entire platform was built by Samantha Thornhill, because she was quite an amazement that it wasn't textbook. I wasn't academically inclined. I did not read from Sigmund Freud or Dr. Carl Jung, or I wasn't even invested in the works of Muhammad ibn Sirin or Dr. Larry Burke. Not at that time. It's good to embrace your gifts and the perceptions of others and the works of others who has done a lot of great work. I hope that actually answers. So, what you wanted to know, is that enough, or there's a lot more?
There are a lot more questions to come on.
Okay, so beautiful, yeah.
I loved hearing I love how you clarified listening to the heart and just your past, how it all kind of unfolded for you, because each of us, it's different, and how we discover who we are and what our gifts are all different. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
The next question is what's your aspiration? So these are your gifts, this is your background, your connection to your highest self. What's your aspiration with this story, with this gift?
I had some struggle with that, because there was this part of me that says you can become known, you can become famous, you can have a following, you can have this, you can have all of these things, and it actually exists. It's a desire. It's there. And when I looked into my soul, I realized that I get fulfillment from being able to serve with authenticity. My most genuine self, to be my heart, actually wants to be of service to the divine presence with the creativity and the skill and these gifts and these embodiments that I possess, and there is a lot of fulfillment there. So my truthful aspiration, as I told to Samantha also, I told her, I don't. It's okay that we have relationships. It's okay that I have reoccurring clients or people who develop these relationships. But I want to meet new people all the time. I want to be able to reach new dreams all the time. I want to be able to have a compilation, books upon books. I must have archives of these dreams. I must have, So my aspiration here, truthfully, from a soul space, it's a lot of things. Ego wants one thing, desire wants this fame, and it's all within its truth. But my soul actually wants to serve. It has a reciprocation, one energy of fulfillment and revitalization when I'm able to touch the heart of someone, and we have that energy connection, and this person is really ready to embrace their dream realm, come to some. It's so magnificent the way, and it's so beautiful the way that when an individual thinks that I actually help them, which I know I'm only a channel for something else higher, they don't realize that they actually helped me also. So I make it known. Thank you so much for gracing me with your presence, your energy, trusting me with your dreams. Because some people come in with dreams, and the interpretation that comes behind that is quite. We see where you were molested as a tender youth by your father, and it's in your dreams. You don't know why it is this way. Where is this tiger coming from? And this voice is telling me this individual was sexually molested. This is traumatic. This is a blur. This is a blunder. This is why they're not able to receive love. Their first betrayal. So it becomes an entire psychological. It's almost like dream counsel at times in different spaces. It becomes personal. So we have shed tears together. We have laughs together. We enjoy glad tidings together when a person visits our realm where there are butterflies, honey and milk. Oh my gosh, what is this? Was it real, or was it just a dream? Is it fake? So it's amazing to see when crazy dreams come together. Water turned into fire, became ashes, fell from the sky. The sky was red. And now you get into the personal thing. Your heart is bleeding. You have a relationship. You're in love with your brother-in-law. Your mother has not told you the truth about who your father was. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is what? No, So you coming in with this test for me. One, you're coming in with these dreams that you do not understand, that things that resembles some that someone someone dreamt once about an egg that had a few colors, and it was spinning around and around. And this person was told that this is the colors of your chakras, and this is your embodiment, and this and that. And the voice that came to me, as Samantha was witness to that, that was really mind blowing. The voice that came to me is that this is the egg of fertility. These colors surrounding here is representative of energies and cycles, but these are all the lies and coverings of this egg that your mother had told you. Your father, whom you think is your father, is your uncle. Your uncle is actually your father. This is your father's. Your father is not your father. So this actually created an entire where we met with our mother and all of that, and truth came out. A lot of healing. It was rough. It was really rough, but that came from that dream. So there are moments, yeah, it's really really ticklish like that. So deeply, my aspiration is be able to serve like that, where individuals can actually realign and heal from their dream realm, their experiences, being able to be have access to specific guidance, what I should pay attention to. What am I doing here? I'm indecisive. I'm scared. I'm having dreams of twins, and dreams of twins at times regularly represent pregnancy with twins. Represent indecisiveness. You have two projects you don't know. You have two lovers you don't know, like that. So it happens that you don't know which decision to make at this point. There's chaos and confusion, but the context of the story itself gives the guidance of whom to choose, what to choose, which one of these children would grow more, or you might see one die very tender and young. So dreams can have such emotions behind it, because there are no there is little there is little there is little understanding at times within the chaos of the dream itself, and it's like a cocktail party. It's an entire, all these things happening all at once. It's chaotic. So my aspiration deeply is to be able to unravel these dreams and have individuals be able to benefit from the maximum, take maximum benefit from this gift that is given to every single person. Was that too much?
No. Oh my gosh. I love when you share about about your experience, like with dreams, and like how they can translate to things that, I mean, I haven't messed around with any of that. So I'm just so grateful for you, because I do feel like for me, whenever I'm dreaming, I'm very active and a part of it all. And sometimes I do get these dreams that like really confuse me, and I'm like, wait, I wasn't active in that. It was like deep subconscious stuff. And sometimes we can take dreams and take them so literally. It's like, oh, I had a dream where, so and so was in my bed, and like maybe it's this, but then it like unravels to just something so off, something so different. And so whenever you share these things like the twins or the egg, like the egg story, that was
that in my memory so deep. It's like, it's one of the most mind-blowing experiences I've had in this thing. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a gift, honestly. What a gift. So since I said that, that's basically the next question. Like, what is your medicine? Because, I feel like you do a lot of things, and I would love for everybody to know, what is it that you do multidimensionally, or how would you describe it?
For some time, this is an entire story, but as I told you, that beginning space of being able to have these heart readings, being able to know the palpitations or the stories of a person's heart, it's very secretive. So it deals specifically. And my deliverance, my deliverance from that, being able to talk to being able to control that, made me know that even with me, or at times with every single person, there are so many layers and so many things that are happening, that these are good readings, yeah, but they are complex and quite sophisticated and requires a lot of wisdom in how you deliver a particular amount of truths. So I have the capacity through the help of my higher self, And through the help of my higher self, this spiritual guide called Melchizedek, all right, which is part and parcel of my spiritual DNA. It's something that I didn't understand properly for some time. However, to be able to have heart readings, so it's something that I can do. It's not something that I do a lot, but I do it, and I do it. Yeah. We discovered the ability to read these dreams. With heart readings, however, a lot of things happen there because the heart, as the king, has access to the rest of the body. So the heart starts speaking about what is happening with the crown, what is happening with the throat, what is happening with the stomach, what is happening with your diet, how you are being so complacent, how you are being your procrastination, the things that you're self-sabotage. The heart wants to love in completion. So the heart starts speaking about how you're loving and how you're not loving, and what needs to be realigned. So a lot comes there. And then the heart has a particular type of ancient memory from past lives, ancestral memory also, evolutionary, conscious, articulate, inarticulate. It has atomic, cosmic memory. So it brings about what details of medicine also, and possible sicknesses that you would have in the future. So these heart readings are really, really deep. It does take some energy at times, and to really translate the language of the heart in its raw state, because the heart has been vulnerable. The heart has been vulnerable with me. You know what I mean? If you understand, it's been vulnerable. So for me to be truthful to you, and realize, okay, you've got on a mask. Ego is very present, and this is tender. This can turn into a disaster if I don't actually say things and hold back things as well. Hold back things as well. So only until a relationship is formed, then we're able to have that flow. We have that level of flow where I can say, Alicia, that your heart speaks of an action that you want to engage, maybe sexually, experimentally, some curiosity of the heart itself, and it's in conjunction with the soul itself. It's saying that this action is not healthy. Now, only I and you know exactly what we're speaking about. So it's two things that happen. It's either or. It's either you actually embrace that truth, or you come out with this mask now. And the ego pops up and says, I don't actually want to do that. I thought about it. This was my past. I'm stronger than that. Most times there is no denial. It's just that defense mechanism that pops up. So I'm always ready for that. Uh, my life journey has turned me into what is considered to be a practicing one practicing exorcist. I have integrated tools. I have a skill. I have literally innovated the skill of exorcism from being quite cruel into a space of ease. It's very delicate. It's saddening at times to see the way that these infections actually progress, and it's also saddening at times to know that children can also have the need for me to be present. So yeah, it's that is one thing is actually dear to my heart. The ability to bring some sort of ease and peace through this realignment and extraction process that carries rejuvenation, and it's not a treat to manage process. It's really a treat to cure process, and it requires participation on an individual's behalf, because you were infected for a reason. You were infected for, one, to increase in your knowing, two, for you to level up spiritually, and three, for you to recognize that you have deep divine light. And this divine light can be surrounded by insects. Like you have this light sometimes, and insects comes buzzing around. It happens like that. This is kind of like our etheric or auric field, or our nur, our light, our aura. And each of these things exist. These are armors that we possess. We think that is one thing. The halo is different from the ether. The auric field is different from the etheric body. It's so many multidimensional things happening all at once. So it's basically the ability to read dreams, the capacity to give a heart reading, and the ability to do exorcisms. So those are the things that I come with as medicine. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So Now that you have talked about like what it is specifically, like what are your offerings, sometimes whenever people are inside of their symptoms, sometimes like people will hear things and be like, oh, like that sounds interesting, maybe I would want a heart reading, or maybe I do feel like a light, and maybe there are things kind of buzzing around me. What would you consider some of the symptoms that people have, to help them better identify that you are somebody that they would want to work with, that you have the medicine that could help them in their journey?
Let's delve first into why I would suggest to pay attention to your dreams. You may be one who actually has some habits that inhibits your dream recall. So let's say you're a heavy smoker, you smoke a lot of marijuana also, or you use other drugs, and your dreams are inhibited, but you're still human, yeah. You may possibly drink a lot of alcohol, or you're stressed, sleep deprived, overworked, all of this. Yet, besides all of these activities, you have reoccurring dreams night after night. The same dream. I'm running away from something. I'm falling. Flies are coming out of my mouth. I'm being attacked. Whatever the scheme is, whatever the theme is, whatever the place may be, also, there's a reoccurrence of that. So what I'm saying, despite your actions, despite your actions, you may not have these actions as well. But despite your actions, you have these dreams that are still able to penetrate, and you have that vivid recollection, intense emotion also from it. If this is one symptom that you're experiencing, then need be this is called as this is one spiritual emergency that can save your life, even that can even save your life. Yeah, because sometimes recurring dreams can be prophetic and futuristic in nature. You're having a timeline, it's coming closer, and you're being warned, and you're being warned until it literally presents itself, manifests itself in exact detail as you saw it within that vision. So these warning dreams, dreams of warnings, dreams like nightmares. I suggest that every single person pay attention to their dreams and journal them and all of that. But we can have stimuli and information from during the day, that gives us a lot of fear. I got a doctor appointment, or I have an interview tomorrow. I'm a bit anxious about it. These things can give pulses where you walk a particular road on what you're actually housing at that point. This has its messaging also, but deeply, my whole thing is to pay attention to reoccurring dreams or reoccurring themes. Nightmares. If you're having nightmares, you want to come see me, because these nightmares to you may be intense and vivid, and it may be reoccurring also in different ways. You want to come see me. This can be indicative of sicknesses. Mm. It can be indicative of energies in your environment also. So with that being highlighted, um, and enforce that every dream does carry its messaging, but you want to deal with. Let's say you want to make time. You want to make time to deal with this. This is going to bring about realignment, a particular amount of healing in your entire life. If you start dreaming about herbs, you start seeing you're not a herbal person, you're not a shaman, you're a day-to-day person, you start dreaming about herbs, a particular plants, a being or a spirit giving you plants. This has happened many times. This is also indicative of physical illness. Doesn't necessarily need to be that all of the times. We can look into it. But if this is happening, these recurring dreams, nightmares, sleep paralysis, all of these things is to actually these are things that we can. These are things that that are that is categorized under spiritual emergencies. It's an emergency. So this is where you actually want to you want to come for some sort of diagnosis, and from there I would be able to say, okay, the next person that you need to see may be Alicia. This is some really deep chord of some gray, yellow, black, multicolored, multifaceted chord that needs to be severed. Or this is something that you need to see our spiritual or our medical intuitive about. Or this is something that, like that. You may be a businessman also, and business can be declining. If you have dreams of anything receding, the horse walking backwards, a car reversing, the ocean sucking in itself, and you're a business person, you want to come see me also. This is significant of a decline within your business life, the loss of wealth and all of that. So the dreams that actually indicate a decline in health, wealth, family relationships, all of these things. The symptoms of that is vivid and intense, reoccurring, and despite your actions, you're able to recall. Despite your actions, you may be one, you're able to recall on every occasion. Then these are spiritual emergencies. Was that clear? Was
Yeah.
that clear? Yes.
Yeah. I felt that was very clear.
Heart readings. Heart readings can be at any moment because we commit levels of self-sabotage. So at times you realize that you're stuck in a memory cycle, or you're stuck within a voice that keeps speaking to you over and over. I am so, and your low vibrational spaces. There is a disconnect. There's a disconnect from the. There's a disconnect, and some of your wheels of energies may be underactive. So what happens is the heart actually starts speaking starts speaking vulnerably about what you need to integrate so that you can love yourself again, or so that you can escape this particular relationship. Again, it gives indication of what you need to integrate in your life. Maybe just as any other reading, what you need to integrate or what you need to cut out. Because the heart wants to love you and it wants you to love you also. So you're realizing the basic symptom with this is that you're not fulfilling your self expectation. You're really angry with yourself. You don't know why. Sometimes you can't recognize that you're angry with yourself because you're blaming the entire world. It's because of this government. It's because of Donald Trump. It's because of my neighbor. It's because my mother didn't nurture me. It's because, and all of these would have contributing factors, but the heart has the answer and the remedy for you to be whole again. And in that wholesomeness, it speaks an absolute truth that your lips would never, ever, ever, ever think to utter about your truth of the inside, what may be your flaws, your shortcomings, what your sabotages. Your sabotages. So once you recognize that you're struggling with self-sabotage, which can be very general, or you're struggling with voices, with a particular memory that has you in a low vibrational space, these are things that indicate that the heart wants to be mediated with. It wants to be listened to because you're all up here. I think that if I dress nicely, then he would pay attention to me. I think that if I buy a really big ring, then she would say yes for me to marry to her. I think that if I go with this really short skirt or or this really tight upper trunks where my six pack is showing, then she would employ me or he would have me in his. So these are really the way that you think as opposed to what the heart is actually saying. There's no communication. There's a sever there. There's a sever there. So now you're not able to hear your heart. So now we rejuvenate that, we reactivate it through this service where you actually come to it. At times it's deep where you come to your knees because your heart is speaking the actual truth. You're not really listening to what your heart has to say. You're all up here. I think the dependency is all upon I think. It's never dependent upon intuition. I feel. So we're all here, and this is active only with desire. So everything else is neglected. Every other facet is neglected that can have so much fulfillment in its truth of messaging, so that you return to that wholesome space. It's all about becoming whole again, leaving that, because what I realized about most hearts from heart reading, I was doing this from very young, from 17 years. It was chaotic. I used to be walking in the streets. It's like I'm walking through portals and dimensions, seeing people's lives. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing these things. So the heart actually wants you to live and just stop existing. It just wants you to get to start living, and it's really adamant about it also. So this is why you find people have troubling insides and really chaotic on the inside, and want to smoke drugs and want to return to other things, seeking peace. The heart is already in a state of peace. Every person, I've recognized that from the few people, that every person has that underlying amount of peace. The third, was that clear enough? You're all up here. So you're not listening to the heart. You're all about I think. There is no I feel. There's no intuition. And there's doubt also. What am I? Why? So like that. Now, when it comes to exorcism, it's a series of symptoms that you're looking at, and one thing looks like the other. Schizophrenia. It looks like possession. Yeah, catatonia, bipolar, we have anhedonia. All of these psychiatric diagnoses um, do resemble that of spiritual possession, and at times are misdiagnosed. This is not to contest the professionals in their area. This is what we have experienced. This is what we have experienced, singularly myself and collectively, within my elders and all of those. There are times where I'm lost. What to do here with this individual? I take them to my elders. I'm saying, okay, Father, what should be done here? This person is experiencing so. This is above me. At this point, this is above me. So, if you're not able to deal with this, then give us some guidance on how we should approach a situation. Because at every moment, it's always delicate. Some symptoms. One of the things is there are people who have spiritual sensitivities that they recognize immediately. There's a change of energy in this environment, and it's staying also, or there's a change within me, or a change within my husband, or I'm seeing clearly something with my children. So you know that there is something that is supernatural, or something, an anomaly that is happening, is something that is not really natural happening. That is for those who have that level of spiritual sensitivity, and pay attention to that also. There are individuals who have spiritual sensitivity but don't pay attention to it because of many contributing reasons for that. However, we're looking at declines. So the envy, with spiritual infections, it can come from your individual self. It can be ancestral in nature, or it can also be something we call seher, or black magic, or maybe you've heard the word hex. Hexes, that these things are that these things exist. What you would experience is what you would experience from most of these areas is an energy decline. Not so much tired, because you can be tired and enthusiastic about tomorrow, but drained. So it's almost like a mild depression that is existing. You can't find that energy. You want to do stuff, but you can't find that energy. There's no motivation there. Something is you're feeling that level of drain. That is one thing that exists, that does exist, as a symptom, and it can be really subtle in nature. Yeah, we have relationships that go on decline. So we have these subtle areas where where there is this knowing that there are blockages. And when I say that, just knowing that there are blockages, because effort is being made. This is being practices are being put into place, or knowledge is there. Acquisition of certification can also be there. This is within a physical walk. So you're walking from place to place, doing these interviews, really qualified for these, but doors are being closed upon you. It may be very divine also, because something else needs to be integrated, or there is a particular blockage to your light from you actually going forward. And this can actually come from envy. There's something called Ein, or Nazar, or the bad eye, extra admiration. This is why a person wants to protect themselves before they actually get infected. And this is something that a lot of people are trying to engage in now in many ways, but a lot of people still don't know about. So we're talking about experiencing subtle symptoms, that feeling of being drained, that feeling of wanting to be isolated. I want to be by myself. I don't want to socialize anymore. And you would have philosophies for that. Yes, he has betrayed me. She has betrayed me. The biggest philosophy is disappointment coming from betrayals, and this is the actual indirect process to get to you. But what is so special about me? Why am I being attacked with these levels of betrayals? And that is because the light that you actually possess, it's time that you're gonna have to tap into that. So sometimes when we don't willingly tap into things, we're forced to tap into things by the actual consciousness of the universal architect. This situation has been placed upon you for a particular reason. This grows, however. This grows into this can grow. Infections can grow into being quite physical, where you have nosebleeds. You may have a particular type of physical infection, like you get these eczemas or a particular rash, it doesn't heal. It just continues to ooze. No medication, no antibiotics. Actually, that is a sign of a particular type of spirit, the chobiti and the chobite. It's a sign of attracting those that can be from many spaces, from your hygiene even. Yeah, but you're experiencing physical decline, movement in your stomach, unwanted movement in your stomach. It may be cramping at times, but movement. You're feeling this rolling and rotation. Yeah, you're feeling this tightness in your chest. You're feeling extreme headaches, migraines for days. Now, one of the things is that medication doesn't work. Pharmaceuticals doesn't work. If the pharmaceuticals is working, then you got to look at your hydration, look at your diet, look at a few things before we actually say, okay, this is a jinn or this is possession, But it does go into that space. It does go into that space until it becomes really daunting, and it becomes apparent also. Now, at times it does not become apparent. The path that is taken leads to suicide, because this person becomes isolated. So the symptoms vary. The path that is taken, this person becomes isolated, as I say, really lonely, alone, wants to stay by themselves. Then they start having two particular types of communication within themselves. So they start like talking to themselves. Start talking to themselves and saying really derogatory things until it's almost like making negative affirmations. I'm ugly. I'm not worthy. I shouldn't be treated well. And this is waswasa, process of waswasa, integration, hadithu nafs, interacting with negative thoughts that comes from an external whisperer. It's called a whisperer. It's called a whisperer. So that path takes you to a particular type of a particular down road that you experience suicide from. And the psychiatrists call it manic depressions and different things. Now, there's another path where there's a manifested something, especially when these jinns carry beasts also. So a person starts operating like an animal. They start squealing like a pig, or trying to operate like a bat, or crawling like a snake. These different times, trying to pretend to be a cat, different things, unwillingly also. So it progresses to that stage. To that stage, and that is quite apparent. So what I'm saying is, it's so tricky and it's so tender and subtle at the beginning that it's only really at times, most of the cases, because this is not recognized at the beginning stage to nip it in its bud. We get these really infected spaces where people are drunken in their state. They're dancing for anything. They're in a trance-like state. They're not themselves anymore. They've become fully possessed at that point. And then there are moon cycles. Individuals, according to the moon, there is this transformation with them, and that energetic change. So that realignment also, we deal with that according to the moon cycle, when that symptom is presented. You would realize also with relationships and families, you would realize also there's a change in your spouse. Sometimes when spirits come in, there is a lot of arguments, chaotic energy in the environment itself, a breakdown in communication and in marriages, and it creates a certain levels of suspicion. But what happens is that to divide and rule is one of their only plans. So they bring in, they come with tricks to create separations for low vibrations, so they can feed from fear, this is a particular type of energy. So those symptoms are some of those that you can look out for. Decline in business, not able to progress with jobs also. These are instances. No, it's, as I said, one thing resembles the other. So it's in need of diagnosis. It's not every single moment of the day we're going to say this is a spirit or this is a blockage. That is not spirit justice. An exorcist deals with something called justice. So to blame spirit for every single thing is not always a truthful thing. It's almost like a particular type of paranoia. To say this is jinn related or this is spirit related, this is a dark force. Oh my gosh, I need to Palo Santo here, but no work is being done internally or no actual effort in this direction. But you're expecting, so you go and you say, okay, I did this ritual. This is supposed to happen, but I didn't actually follow the application form. So that synchronized process needs to actually take place at times. But there are instances, especially with Sahel and envy, the nazar, what we call ain, the eye of envy. The eye of envy. This is something that can be that once you recognize this, you can start protecting yourself. You can have it cut easily, and this progresses also. This progresses. You feel nauseated, upset all of the time. Upset all of the time. You can't eat properly and all of these things. So it's really clear when when an exorcism is needed. It's quite apparent when it is needed. I think what is really in need of awareness is the early stages. To be able to check them out at the early stages. Check them out at the early stages, and once you'll be able to check them out at the early stages, and you would have a clearer insight into, is this something that is coming from me, or is this something in my environment? And I think the biggest thing for me as I dish out regularly is to start protecting yourself. Set up your grids. It's necessary. We have systematic designs. Now exorcism is, and becoming an exorcist or dealing with exorcisms is very important at this stage. You have biometric warfare, psychic warfare. So exorcism might be such a strong word. A lot of people are scared of it, but this is the truth of the word. I can't say spiritual healing, spiritual cleansing. Exorcism is a complex process that holds it all. Cleansing, extraction, rejuvenation, reprogramming, subliminal reprogramming, astral traveling, finding dimensional self. It's an entire process. So definitely we have all of these systematic designs against us. Every single person who probably is hearing me at this point, my love to you is to get your ether protected, get cleaned up, and stay protected, because it's going to become, Melchizedek told me, say the forces that are against the forces that are against the superpowers that are trying to extract immortality from the melanated, especially, and in its entirety, are consistent with their action. How consistent are you? So this is the thing. So I guess maybe there are other symptoms there. You feel spasms in the body. There are a lot of other spasms in the body. You would hear a shrieking sound in the air. In your ear, you can hear this. You hear a lot of people complaining about ringing. That is spiritual sensitivity. It can be the malaika, it can be the angels, as well as it can be something in your environment, making having that really screaming loud sound. You would have sensitivities. This is for the spiritually sensitive. You would be smelling aromas that are not present. This is how we know about astral travel too. People who astral travel come back with scents. It's like, oh my gosh, I knew this was this or that was not a dream. That actually was not a dream. So, but definitely you would have in your environment the smell of burning, something burnt, smoky, garbage-like. You would smell feces in places like, why is this place smelling like poop? There is no poop here. My toilet is clean. Okay. And you go down the entire physical line, the septic tank, or I need to call in the plumber. Something is entirely wrong here, but you have these stenches that emanate from your environment, even from your body. That is not you. It's not you. These are signs of attachments. I guess it was really broken and not so linear, but I hope everyone understood. Was that clear for you? Does it make sense?
Yeah. So for me, what I hear is that and is that things happen in stages, and it's very important to be mindful to your intuition and to not blame spirits necessarily. Like, let's not just jump to that. Let's get checked out. Let's make sure that all of our what do they say? Our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. And if all of that happens, then it could very well be a form of attachment. Especially whenever it's more of like your subtle senses that are kind of going off rather than your physical senses that are going off. And I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. It can be attachments are very, very pesky, like I notice sometimes it just starts off with like negative thoughts. It's just like very strange. It's like everything's fine, and then all of a sudden there's like just some negative thoughts that are going on, and then like some spiraling that will happen, and then it'll cause the depression, and then it'll cause like the isolation, and then it'll cause the, you know, and then it can just go and go and go and go and go until it's very serious, you know.
It's an entire catalyst. An
Yeah.
entire just like it's an entire catalyst. It is
Yeah.
deep. Starts
Yeah.
really small and goes into another thing, but it really attacks that inner body, that hadithul nafs, being able interacting with that, those negative thoughts that you're talking about. This is where you want to nip that in the bud. Recognize these are not my thoughts.
Right.
You know, because what happens usually is that waswasa is designed this way. You're it comes in like this, like if it's even your thought, and some of the words is like this. You're totally lost. It doesn't make sense now. You've gone too far. You're really gone too far. And you know, if you're a person that believes in God or spirit, God wouldn't actually forgive you for that. You've been doing it too much. It doesn't make sense. You pray, God is not listening to you. You know, you know. So you thinking you have these thoughts that these are my thoughts, and I'm thinking ill about myself, or this is the absolute truth. This is where you want to nip this in the bud, because you see the divine presence is easy to forgive. Human beings are difficult to forgive. Yeah, the angels of light, easy to forgive. This is one of the things. One of the angelic sides of an individual is being able to forgive and forgive yourself also. Setting up boundaries is another topic, but being able to forgive easily can be difficult for some individuals. But this is not difficult for your creator. Is this difficult for you, between you and your kid? It's not difficult. You know, it's not difficult. So at times these are the things. You're lost. You're gone. You're the wood. So these thoughts are not your thoughts. These are waswasa. These are whispers.
Yeah.
These are whispers. This is where anointing becomes really, really important. You know, particular types of anointing. Now, when I say anointing, we can say anointing with oils, anointing with words, anointing with even Palo Santo, circum. But what actually happens is to return to yourself in a space of remembrance at that point. Remembrance. So once you have the information that this is not my thoughts, the situation is true. I did do that. But I was actually, this was for me to learn something from. This is not that I should hate myself, you know. So it's almost like what psychologists talk about this counteractive therapy, a counteractive thought pattern, you know, from I actually forgot the word, but it's a cognitive thing. A particular type of cognitive behavioral therapy that they say that if you look at someone, or someone looks at you a particular way, because of what you're exposed to, or how you're designed, it's possible that you may say, why is this person looking at me like this? Do they know me? Are they angry with me? Are they going to attack me? So you go into a particular type of anxiety and paranoia. Would they rob me soon? And the entire truth about it is this person is just having their own bad day. So cognitive behavioral therapy and being able to counteract with these types of whispers also is to recognize that these are not my thoughts. I'm loving to counteract these thoughts with positive thoughts is an entire exorcism by itself. Realize, oh my gosh, this is not a place I want to be right now. Spirit realize I'm wasting my time and my energy. I'm gonna try another thing. You know, I'm gonna try an indirect process. So I'm gonna try this process through the husband. He's weaker. So I'm going to give him a suspicion that you're too happy. Something is happening with you that you're so happy. You know, you have some other trick up your sleeve, or so things that you haven't. So you're going to recognize something is wrong with your spouse now. He's really, really accusing and being someone that he's not usually is being. He's moving from 0 to 60 in moments. Also, all of these are symptoms that there is a whisperer, a trickster in your environment. You know, these are mouth murderers. You know what are mouth murderers? There are individuals there are malevolent forces that would actually rape you. And then there are those loafers. Waswasa whisperers are loafers. They've come to feed on your fears, your anxiety, your low vibrational energy. So they come like this, and they're easy to actually eradicate because they're not fighters. They're tricksters. They're loafers now. Once you realize you have willpower and you've recognized, they're gone.
Gone. Right.
Gone. This is what the individual say, I don't consent to your presence. That works in that moment. of remembrance, but it's not going to work for a rapist. If even if a criminal comes up onto you and holds you in a headlock, you can't say I don't consent. You've got to know to do some elbow strikes and some sort of martial arts at that point. I have to say it's similar. It's similar in that realm because the incubi, succubi, cubites,
Right.
black magic, hexes, deep magicians, Amudimas, Baal, Malek, all these. If we come into contact with Beelzebub, even the Jezebel spirit, all of these things are from different lineages of different lineages coming from Kal, Bhairava, Shakti. It are certain places where this malevolence appears from. There is no I do not consent. They will rape you. They will hold you. They will sit on your chest. They will suffocate you whilst you're sleeping. They will choke you. They will choke it out of you. They're quite different. So definitely, yeah. Waswasa, you don't want to be in a space of interacting with these thoughts. It's these particular thoughts. I'm lost. I'm gone. There is no space for me. That is clear indication of an external energy. Because the soul doesn't speak that way. The ego doesn't even speak that way. Ego speaks proudly and boastfully. I am great. I'm sorry. I need this. I'm gonna do this. Ego is a great motivator and a tool. It can be very radical and chaotic when it's not under the reins of intellect. But however, the ego doesn't come with depressing words. Come with depressing words. No, the heart doesn't come with depressing words. The soul doesn't come with no facet of the human identification except for memory. When there is this link, when there is a link with memory, and waswasa comes in, then memory comes in. Oh yes, I really did that because they're talking to a particular truth to you, and that memory cycle is I did that, but now you're not able to accept that because the words coming into you is that I'm not good, I'm unworthy, I'm the worst person that exists because I did this one thing. The divine presence only wants you to know that this was an error in your judgment, so that you could have learned something and you could deliver to someone else. I did this thing, and this was the end result. I'm not going to do it again.
Right.
So yeah, like that.
Yeah. And like for me, so like from the lineage that I learned, it's like this is where healing is important because they'll feed off of your fears. So if you know yourself and you have learned how to love yourself, then it is easier to get these things off of you. But if you haven't healed these things, what they're going to do is they're going to figure out the seed of your fear and they're going to take it and they're just going to like build on it. So then your head's going to be like, I can't believe I did that. I'm such a terrible person. And then you're just going to just like, and they'll just keep going and going and going with it until you're just completely lost and sitting in your own self-loathing. And this is where like self-love is just like a super powerful tool. Like you got to face yourself, and like your strength and your ability to forgive yourself and to like move forward is going to be a strength where you're able to get some of these like lower level entity attachments off of you, because they're going to be like, oh, nobody loves you, you suck. And if you're like, yeah, nobody loves me, I suck, like this is so terrible, then it's just going to feed. But if you're like, wait a second, like I don't believe that, so whatever that was, that's got to go, like immediately they have nothing to feed off of anymore. So it's like really powerful.
Usually we hear about it's a trending thing. They call them energy vampires.
Right.
For me, it's different species from the races of the beings of the jinn, but they call them energy vampires. And what you want to look out for at times is that your friend might be extremely complaining, and when they're in your presence, you start feeling drained by what they're saying. that is another trick that these jinns have. They're gonna come through a friend. You're in your really happy space. Oh my gosh, did you know what happened to me? Blah 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 blah. And now it's not that they only say it. They want you to play in the emotion one, and then they repeat themselves. You keep. So it brings you to a really definite space. This is Sulaiman.
Hi.
Hello.
Peace and love. So, I mean, basically what I wanted to do, thank you for everybody that's been on and watching this. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. But like, I wanted to give an opportunity for maybe a person to hop on and like share a dream. so that way we can see this happen live. So if anybody would like to post their dream in the comments, go for it. Let's go. It's funny because like I have a dream, but I don't want to do it publicly because I don't want everybody to know.
Right.
He was like, I want to share my dream, and then he started talking about it. I'm like, actually, let me
What
schedule
you
an
know?
appointment for later.
You know what? Once I recognize that it's quite private, I do this on Clubhouse as well, and I recognize that it's very very private. I actually say that it's very private,
Yeah.
and we take it into our private space.
Yeah.
We take it into our private space. Recently, one individual, one sister dreamt that she was having a particular type of drowsiness dreams. Within the drowsiness, this entire situation start taking place where she leaves her body and walks around the room and starts searching for things, like she's looking through her clothes and through all of these things. And I immediately know that was a sense of self-worthiness, that there was a particular type of decline in her, and a particular type of, how to say, a particular type of advantage being taken place on her emotions, sexuality, all of these different things. She was emotionally detached from her spouse, and we was able to speak of that privately. But within that clubhouse settings, I wasn't able to speak about that. And I asked her, during our private session, do you think that was a wise for me to actually make this private? And she was grateful for that, because even as the slightest indication of this is related to your personal life, it can be a drag, a turn off. It can be embarrassing at times. It can be
Yeah.
embarrassing at times. So
So
I just use
vulnerable.
a few words. I actually just say, this is really private, and we can take it into our private space. So once a person know that their dreams are very private, then that is another thing. But definitely.
Well, we have one here.
Uh-huh.
Thanks for your bravery. I had a dream recently about I knew there was a snake in the brush by me. Then I saw it. It was yellow and trying to eat my small dog. I yelled at it and it came to me. I laid still, felt its tongue on my face. I just kept wondering where my husband was. He was always there to kill the snakes in our yard.
She wondered. Oh, okay, yes, I'm seeing it here. Now, generally, the actual voice of this dream, you know, when we look at it, we look at the color yellow. Yeah. Now, generally, yellow is significant towards happiness, a particular amount of abundance. It's there to indicate spirituality also. But when we have a yellow snake, this yellow snake is a sign of deception. A yellow snake is a particular sign. In this entire dream here, what I can say presently is that there is there is a person who is envious of you. A person who is envious of you, envious of the loyalty being paid to you, and envious of your joys. Your dog is an attachment. Your dog is quite loyal. Your dog is a protector. Your dog is what looks forward to you. Your dog is obedient. Your dog has a schema of attributes and qualities that you can integrate within your life also. But this is a particular type of unconditional love. Unconditional love within relationships. So this snake that wants to swallow your dog, once there is a person that is in your life, present with an agenda, and that agenda is very malevolent against you. That agenda is to take from you your loyalty, your happiness, your loyalty, your happiness, your closeness, your alone time, your privacy. This is an entire. This is coming from envy, and the fact that you were able to call it, to be able to call it and bring it close to you is because it wants to get closer to you. It actually wants to get closer to you. If that makes any sense at this point, if you have not recognized this yet, this is dream is a particular type of warning dream that we can dive into deeply, because generally these yellow snakes are significant of the feminine divine. Yeah, it's of the feminine divine, and it wants to get closer and closer to you. There's something that it wants, and that would also enter into a really private space. So we can explore on that if you so desire. But if this makes sense at this point for you, but pay attention to your dreams more and more. This is a particular type of warning that is coming there. Yeah.
And the Calendly to schedule with Amar is in the description box. Okay. So everybody, if you click on that description box, there's a link there. It's calendly.com/the Aspirant agency. Find Amar the Dream Lander and you can schedule. Also, for those of you that are here, an energy exchange is welcome and accepted. Cash App, it's that $ Samantha Thornhill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alicia, that dream is so deep. I actually recommend that you can come in, because the brush itself, the snake in the brush itself, with no level of disguise, it means that this is something that is already becoming known. It's not something all that hidden, you
The
know?
feeling the tongue on her face or their face.
Yeah.
I laid still, felt its tongue on my face. Like that was very fascinating to me. We have another comment that's coming in. So whoever had that dream, your name didn't come through, but definitely schedule with Amar. Like there's more to it, and I love that he keeps it kind of light, because I'm sure it can get very in depth. Maureen, I have to journal my dreams. It is extremely difficult for me to remember them. I remember feelings more than images, but sometimes the dream in an image state is lucid or vivid. Those are usually 100% spot on and manifest shortly after the dream. And normally they are not for good things, but a foreshadowing. I will do better about keeping track of them because I would love to know more.
Journaling dreams is one of the best advice that anyone can actually take with and integrate into their life. Uh, Having that level of emotion coming back. The emotion is very, very important. A person who has dreams and comes back with a lot of emotions from them speaks about the emotional embodiment overall. Speaks about the emotional embodiment overall, what you're experiencing. And when you have that level of recall, at times they have these geometry dreams that show tetrahedrons and different shapes and designs and all of that. But from an emotion, we can work from an emotion even. If you come back from a dream and you were really fearful, we can start tapping in from that energy itself. You come back from a dream and you feel really soft, or you feel really, really invested within your heart space, or you have different types. You have this feeling of anxiety. Any section that you're able to describe what your emotion was, we can tap from there, and we can tap from there, and then open everything else. Actually, open everything else where there can be a depth of recall, because at times we can intentionally stop dreaming. Individuals who have had nightmares and so they can have that power. We have control of every single thing. Sometimes we don't know what we're in control of or what we're already controlling. What we're already intentionally controlling. So there have been individuals who have succumbed to a lot of nightmares and all of that, and they intentionally stop wanting that recall. Stop wanting that recall. So definitely journaling those dreams, and being able to you see that type of personality wherein they manifest themselves really quickly after. These are the individuals that have more players open than they actually know. They have access to points, to a lot of points. They have access to spirits. They have access to themselves. They have easy access. Some people have easy access, like almost an inheritance. Like you didn't have to actually work for anything, these people who have prophetic dreams do have these type of do have these inheritances that that some of us work very hard to accomplish at
Right.
times.
We have another comment. I remember you saying once that your bed can cause you to not have dreams, like the way it is positioned. Out of curiosity, how is it supposed to be positioned?
Usually we try to place our head to the east, or our feet. Now, the most sophisticated sleep, the most sophisticated sleep is for your face to be facing the east, but this is to sleep on the side. That takes some practice. So we generally is for the head to actually be facing the east itself, and rather than the head facing north or south. The magnetic poles is one thing, so it's not physically recommended to sleep north south. Spiritually, this is something that puts you into a space where you become really vulnerable between these dimensions. However, a person can be on a vibrational sequence and fall into any space and sleep at anywhere, anyhow, at any point in time, and still not have those types of effects. But when a person is actually healing and going through a rejuvenation process, all of these little details become really important so that you can get to a point where you're a balanced frequency vibrationally, and none of these things become a particular type of worry anymore. A particular type of worry anymore. So you would get to that space where, even though there's a muscle memory also, even though you're at any space, when you do lie down, your entire vibrational sequence and its balance is going to put you almost like the Mayan calendar, the Mayan astrological calendar. It moves every 2 hours. So I'm saying that every night we should sleep with our heads to the east, but possibly when the spirit and that vibrational sequence happens, there are times that you may shift up a bit. You may shift, and this is like this science can actually open up different portals, different messages, different dimensional experiences as well. The way that you actually go to rest this body, because we don't actually believe in sleep. We believe that the avatar needs to rest, but the consciousness is awake all the time. Another reality is happening. So dreams for me is another reality, despite how we may look at it, as small, as fragmented, as whatever. It's another reality that is happening there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you, Alicia?
It makes sense to me. Yeah. I mean, I was always like, I cannot sleep with my head facing west. I feel like that's where I get a lot of nightmares. And like, through the shamanic perspective, the west is like where like the sun sets, and that's where those that pass like will kind of follow. And I noticed that like I'll get a lot more sleep paralysis and things like that whenever my head is where the sun sets.
Really vulnerable. The safest space for a beginner or anybody advanced as well is to put that head to east, rearrange your room, rearrange your bed. You're gonna have clear channels there. The angels appear from the east. The archangels themselves actually stand from the east itself. The angels of the earth. It's and we say angels are celestial beings. On the whole, the east. Yeah. So it's what I've recognized, however, is that the reverberations of the etheric body, it functions in so much of a more fulfilling space when the head is actually facing the east, and whilst you're sleeping, because there are things happening to you whilst we speak, whilst we talk, reverberations from the infrared realm, the realm that you're not seeing at this point. We can't look in. Some of us can't see the ether, some of us can. But there are so many things happening on your behalf, on my behalf, to generate these words. Even you think, okay, it's all scientific. So yeah, it's I'm breathing, and I have this voice box, and I have all, and from an immaterial sense, it's so much more happening for these words to actually come to life, because they're coming to life. It's life and death, life, constant living and dying, and it's really, really deep. So
And it's somebody said the top of your head east. I know you did say facing.
No, I'm saying that there's a particular development that can come after. The safest thing for every single person is the top of the head to be able to face east.
Right.
You know, east for me would be this way. So my I would be sleeping in my head this way. But there's a particular shape that you can make where your face faces east, the mole faces north, the foot faces south, and that has a complexity to the shape that your body actually makes. Because this hand has to be here, this hand has to be here, the toes has to clip. It's
Yes, I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah, the toes has to clip. So there's an advanced sleeping direction, sleeping position, but it does take some training to actually keep it there because you're going to go to sleep.
Right.
At some point, you're going to lose. So if you turn onto your belly, that becomes dangerous at that point. You don't want to be on your belly. You don't want to sleep on your belly at all. You don't want to train to sleep on your belly. You want to sleep on your back, sleep on your sides. If sleeping on your belly is very dangerous. It's a belief, and I have realized also that it's quite dangerous. One of the beliefs is that you become raped. That you get raped. That this is a vulnerable space. You know, there's a very, very vulnerable space. You get what might be considered anally penetrated at that point by rows and rows of ifrits, or what we know as incubi. Succubi lies under. You know, so what people call incubi and all of that. So this is very real. This is very, very real. You sleep on you sleep on you have slept away on your belly and awaken. A lot of people have spoken of what they physically know happened to them. You know, some people are awakened to knowing that they're being, oh my gosh, because it was intense and their spiritual sensitivity was enough to have them arise. Some people awaken on next whenever they wake up and they're like, oh my gosh, what actually happened to me? They realize some people actually have nocturnal emissions, what we call wet dreams. All of these are things that are that have these intercessions. They have these intercessions or these these deliberate how to say, these deliberate jinns coming in and doing these things. It's not always there. It's not always that, but it happens. It really happens. So.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and just showing up. Like I always love your work, and I always love spending time with you and just watching you do your thing. So Amar the Dream Lander, everyone.
Amar the Dream Lander. It's really, really great to be with all of you all as a dream medium. I realize that the gift from the divine presence is for all of us to be able to exist in that realm. I do urge every single person who was here, tell your friends, tell your family, encourage your children, listen to their dreams also. It can be quite fascinating if it doesn't always be, if it's not always treated as something crazy or something that holds no value. So I would be available upon your request. You can actually calendly.com / the Aspirant agency. You would find me there for spiritual consultation. You would find me there for dream readings, and this is the hop off of your life. This is the actual hop off of your life. That hop off actually, I've seen it. Even for myself, I've seen it. It transforms your life. Paying attention to your dreams transforms your life. Paying attention to your dreams can get you rich. So it's really, really deep. So yeah. Peace, love, and light to every single one. Peace, love, and light. It was beautiful. It was great being with you, Alicia. I want to say thank you so much for your energy, for your calmness, facilitation, for being able to be present also, and for actually making this happen. It was all on your shoulders. May the divine presence be with you. May you be protected from the mole of your head to the soles of your feet. May the angels of the divine shower their mercy and be surrounding you with their wings of presence, and bless you with all your divinity and your elegance, so that you would be ever so living jovial in your inner youth.
Yay, I accept. Thank you so
Yes.
much. And thank you everybody for joining. We are so grateful. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. And yeah, take note of your dreams and schedule an appointment with Amar the Dream Lander.
You can do that.
Loving you all. Oh,
We're,
before
all,
you
we're, we're always we're also present, Alicia. As you know, we're also present on Tuesdays and Fridays on Clubhouse, particularly the Aspirant Agency. Particularly, we try to make it for 7 or 8 o'clock. It would be advertised or scheduled as to exactly what time, and we would be present there so we can have deeper interactions for we can have deeper interactions if a person can't actually doesn't have the time or the space or just have a few moments to tap in. You can tap in on a Tuesday afternoon or a Friday. It's always, and what I love about it is that it's growing. It's not really a big space at this point, so you do have the opportunity for individual attention, and that is what is divine about that room at this point, that the flow is not crowded. The flow is so much so that you've seen it, Alicia. One person comes in, well, a few people is in the audience. They receive their healing, they receive whatever is happening. They help us as well. They share their gifts with us as well. And then another person flows in. So it's such a beautiful space the way the flow actually happens. For me at the beginning, it was like, oh my gosh, I want this crowd. Why is this room so small? And then I realized God is working with me. I could not have dealt with an entire crowd. You need this flow, one person at a time, one person, and who actually is patient enough to stay around or hop on, hop off, and that type of thing. But what is beautiful about it is a person gets individual attention with us all who is present at that point in time. So, yeah.
Yes, and that link is also in the description box. The link to the Aspirant agency on Clubhouse. So for those of you that are interested in like hopping in on something like that, there is no video. It's all sound. You can kind of just chime in and out. You can just kind of leave us on while we serve you or serve others. So definitely just check it out. I think it's a really cool platform, and that link is there as well. Alrighty. All right. Thanks, everyone. Loving you all. And stay tuned next week. We have another aspirant coming on. And we just continue to get to know this community, these agents that are here. And yeah, it feels complete. All right. Yes. Bye, everyone.
Hi, peace, love, and light. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.